Loeb sent one email. NASA changed 31 years of physics models. Coincidence? Let me show you the timeline. Because this is data manipulation happening in real time. October 30th, 2025. NASA's JPL Horizons website lists Atlas's non-gravitational acceleration, coefficient A1 at 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 6 astronomical units per day squared. Standard water ice sublimation model, used for decades, based on work by Brian Marsden. The model that predicted every comet trajectory we've ever measured. November 24th. The coefficient gets revised downward by a factor of 4. New value, 4 into 10 raised to power minus 7. Still using the water ice model. Still within normal scientific adjustment range. Then Loeb runs the math. He calculates where Atlas will be on March 16, 2026 when it encounters Jupiter. Closest approach distance, 53.445 million kilometers. Margin of error, plus or minus 0.06 million kilometers. Jupiter's Hill radius on that exact date, 53.502 million kilometers. The match is within one standard deviation, perfect alignment. Atlas is arriving at the precise boundary where you deploy satellites that Jupiter's gravity can hold stable. Outside that radius, the Sun rips objects away. Inside it, they orbit indefinitely with minimal fuel requirements. Loeb emails NASA's Davide Farnocchia. He sends his calculation. He points out the coincidence. 4 in 100,000 odds, 0.004% probability. Within Jupiter's entire orbital diameter, hitting that exact distance is statistically impossible for a random object. No response to the email. But within 48 hours, JPL Horizons updates again. A1 coefficient revised downward by another factor of 6. New value, 6.8 into 10 raised to power, minus 8 astronomical units per day squared. And here's the key change. They switched models. Abandoned the water ice sublimation model that's worked for 31 years. Adopted a carbon dioxide CO2 ice model instead. Different radial dependence. Inverse square relationship with distance from the Sun, 1 over r square. The new model predicts Atlas's closest approach to Jupiter at 53.587 million kilometers, just outside the Hill radius. Margin of error, plus or minus 0.045 million kilometers. Convenient. The model that breaks the coincidence. The model that moves Atlas away from Jupiter's deployment zone. Selected within 48 hours of Loeb exposing the match. But here's the problem. Loeb shows the new model is wrong. Luminosity data proves it. Atlas got brighter near perihelion than a smooth 1 over r square CO2 sublimation model predicts. Multiple observations confirm this. A preprint by Marshall Eubanks and collaborators documents the luminosity evolution. Earlier work by Qicheng Zhang and Carl Battams found a steep luminosity profile of 1 over r rays to power 7.5 inside 2 astronomical units, as Atlas approached perihelion at 1.36 AU on October 29th. That's not a gentle inverse square relationship, that's a steep radial dependence, the kind the old water ice model captured, the kind the new CO2 model ignores. If you correct the radial dependence to match the observed brightness increase, the peri-Jove distance prediction shifts back toward agreement with Jupiter's Hill radius, back to the coincidence NASA just tried to erase. This is data manipulation in real time. Change the model, change the prediction, break the statistical impossibility, move along, nothing to see here. But Loeb won't let it go. He writes, "The insistence of the Vatican on the Earth being at the center of the solar system did not change the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. For the same reason, the new model of JPL Horizons will not change the actual trajectory of Atlas." NASA can declare whatever model they want. They can revise coefficients. They can switch from water to CO2. They can rewrite 31 years of physics conventions within 48 hours of an inconvenient email. But they can't change where Atlas actually goes. March 16th, 2026. Juno spacecraft orbits Jupiter. It will measure Atlas's actual closest approach distance, Not a model, not a prediction. Actual astrometric data from a spacecraft at Jupiter. Either Loeb's calculation is right, and NASA manipulated the model to hide it, or NASA's new CO2 model is right, and the Hill radius match is broken coincidence. There's no middle ground. Either the perigee distance matches the Hill radius or it doesn't. Either NASA revised their model to obscure a technological signature, or they legitimately corrected for CO2 sublimation. Binary outcome. Definitive test. 7 months away. And here's what makes this the most remarkable anomaly. Atlas was hidden behind the Sun during perihelion passage, October 29th, when it gained most of its non-gravitational acceleration, when the brightness spike happened, when the crucial data should have been collected. We couldn't observe it. No terrestrial telescopes had line of sight. We only know it accelerated because of the integrated drift from its gravitational path afterward. We don't actually know the radial dependence close to perihelion because we couldn't watch it happen. NASA's new model assumes behavior during the period we couldn't observe. Convenient assumptions. Assumptions that break the Jupiter coincidence. But assumptions aren't physics. Models aren't reality. This is now anomaly number 1 on the list. The most statistically impossible thing about Atlas. 4 in 100,000 odds. More unlikely than the trajectory alignment. More unlikely than the timing. More unlikely than the industrial metal ratios. Loeb ends his analysis with this. The final verdict will eventually be posted on the JPL Horizons website, underlining the inescapable truth that science is always work in progress, not to be settled by the authority of NASA officials in press conferences. Science is work in progress. Authority doesn't determine truth. Models don't change trajectories. March 16, 2026, Juno measures the actual distance, and we find out if NASA's revision was legitimate correction or deliberate obscuration. The truth will come out. NASA can't change physics.